Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Moss, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Hope that you are having a fabuloso Wednesday as we are fast approaching, of course, Ramadan, a special time of the year for Muslims where we get the reboot, if you will. Get the reboot, get the realign, and really just get to be real with ourselves. Brothers and sisters, today's topic, I literally have gone back and forth about this topic probably about the last 3 months. Just the whole idea of what is happening to the black man in the United States. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm high one day. I'm down one day. I'm confused another day. Of course, the whole incident with Will Smith and Chris Rock, it begins to carry over now because you have people who are speaking about the incident who are not black, who are making comments on really what we call our black identity in a roundabout circumvent type of way, speaking about our behavior, speaking about our intentions. These are the calm conversations because in the metaverse and the QAnon verse and the white supremacy, we have a very very dressed down understanding of two black men who are wealthy, who have benefited from the bounty of the United States of America through entertainment, and they still don't know how to act. Well, brothers and sisters, today I thought it'd be pertinent that we begin to start breaking down what this thing is. I have been in the entertainment business for a very long time, going all the way back till I was 18 years old, wanting to be really 17 years old, wanting to be a comedian. I mean, touching a stage at 17 years old. And what I have learned about this industry, about America and the idea or the concept of how they frame perception, it's something that's just not talked about, because to talk about it is almost to let the genie out of the bottle. And once you let the genie out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. You're not allowed to go back to different ways or how you're seeing things, how you're framing yourself. And it's interesting, even more so, that we're talking about this debacle that happened during the Oscars, which is literally about actors who are being rewarded for how compelling an acting performance they get you to do, so that they suspend. Let me tell you what I see, that you suspend your reality, so that Will Smith, a light-skinned man, actually looks like Richard Williams, a dark-skinned man. So we can talk about Nina Simone being portrayed by Zoe Saldana. They look nothing the same. And I say this with the most sincerity I have. I love our actors. I'm an artist. I'm a creative. I love our actors. I love our creators. But what is burning me up, if you will? What is burning me up, if you will, brothers and sisters, is the fact that we can't find a bottom. We consistently put ourselves in spaces that reveal that we really haven't resolved a lot of things within ourselves. We talked about the black woman yesterday, but it is in the United States. The black community is framed on literally how the black man has resolved his feelings, has somehow developed a concept development of how he can benefit his community, and at the same time benefit but protect his community. And we didn't see that, and we saw this play out, if you will. Nobody wants to see two black multimillionaires fighting. This is ridiculous. This one a celebrity fight. This is something, brothers and sisters, that's held as a bastion for the creative community. Do you understand? It's held as a bastion of the creative community. Will Smith had won awards all along the way, the Screen Actors Guild and things like that. And this is something where for Best Actor category, we had several black men, none other than Denzel Washington, who was winning an award. And as I said at the beginning of the week, and the fact that Samuel L. Jackson got a Lifetime Achievement Award, and he was presented the award by Denzel Washington, which I didn't really see it, but just the idea that I heard about and I read the things that Denzel said about Samuel Jackson gave me an extremely warm feeling. Not enough to kind of counterbalance the fact that we had this debacle between two black men on international TV. When I say international TV, I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about social media, things like that. And there's a lot of places where you can assign blame. But today, I think on the Shout Out Show that we need to go back and be honest, if you will. Be honest and say that there are things in our community that are awry, that are indicative to the African American Muslim community and indicative of the African American community as well. They don't separate. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the show started. We're gonna give a shout out, of course, to Sister Satana, who's working the back. She's trying to make it happen. God bless her. And also, big shout out to Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis, who was diagnosed with aphasia. It's a condition where he loses the ability to speak and express himself and acknowledge expression. So he's stepping away from acting. So peace and blessings to you and your family. I don't know you, Bruce, but hey, man, you're a fellow artist. God bless you. So we're gonna get the show started on that note. Tune in. You're here with the Shout Out Show. Preacher Moss. Let's go.
We just need help.
Imagine if there wasn't an olive branch. Muslim Family Services at your command. The people who help people have to say, we need your donations, don't delay. We all have struggles from time to time, but leaders dedicated is what you find. Before another person sheds a tear, support Olive Branch, you don't have to fear. Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Action you can see, compassion you can feel. Sing it with me. Ooh. Ooh.
So we're back. Shout out to Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. They actually won. They actually won a big grant to assist Afghan refugees in the city of Houston. They've been doing some great stuff. I think I mentioned they were helping people re-enter American society by getting them actual jobs that pay, CDL licenses and the like. So I'm very, very proud and happy for them in that respect. This show, brothers and sisters, is interesting because I'm looking at the Oscars in a much broader picture other than Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. And I started doing my homework and I'm like, what is there to take out of this? And at the same time as my good brother who's on the stream today, Mark Kennedy, says we don't want to read too much into it, but I do want to make some parallels that I actually went to some notes. I literally went back to when I actually was happy to be around Hollywood and beginning to understand a little bit more about Hollywood, that it wasn't so much about talent. It was about how people perceived they could use your talent, how you could be utilized in a system. Sometimes you were the setup for the person who was really the star and things like that. And, a whole lot of different experiences I had. You heard me talk about Damon Wayans, George Lopez, things like that. It's an interesting process when you're in a fishbowl, if you will. I'm going to talk about that. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and officially welcome everybody in. If you're watching out there, and don't want to get into the comment section, God bless you. We appreciate you tuning in. I realize, sometimes people don't want to get into the comment section, but I want to make sure I make a special appeal to come into the section. But at the same time, we appreciate you for stopping by. So let's go ahead and get this rolling. In the comment section, we have shout out to Sister Reed. Sister Reed, how are you doing? Peace and blessings to you, Brother Derek. And, of course, Brother Juwan, I know you're doing good things over there. And we always appreciate your support, Sister Reed. So you guys don't know, Sister Reed takes care of your brother, Preacher Moss, and my family. So God bless. Good to see you on the show. Next up, my main man, Mark Allen Kennedy, Jelani Locks, my main man. Hey, brother, I hope that you're feeling well. Du'as have been sent your way. We appreciate it. And always, I appreciate the conversation that we had a little while ago. Some of the things we were talking about. And I've been talking about them a couple days, but it's just been a little bit. I've dug a little bit deeper because when you get into these type of things that we're talking about, the Chris Rock thing, the Will, it's easy to get stuck on something and kind of fall into a stupor. And what I had to do was go back maybe 5, 10, 15 years to really be able to understand what this thing is in Hollywood a little bit clearer. So, Mark, I'm glad you're on the show. Peace and blessings to your Queen Tina and your family. Thank you so much for coming. Next up, all right, we got Mama San. She says, "Great day to SOS family." That's right, Mom. Good to see you on the show. I had a fabulous time. My mom was my road dog up to Philadelphia for the Muslim Kings of Comedy. She was rolling like a veteran comedian. We appreciate you, Mom. When I say rolling, I do mean rolling. But she was rolling and keeping your boy in check, and I couldn't ask for a better co-pilot for those days. Thank you so much, Mom, for sharing your light here on the Shout Out Show as well. All right, next up. We got Brother Eric Carter. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I didn't give Mark salams. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. Sorry about that. Brother Eric, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you, my friend. Appreciate you coming on the show, stopping through. And I just want to make sure, man, we notice and appreciate your support, brother. So thank you for coming through. Next up, my main man, Altaf Rashid, in the house, all the way from Toronto, Ontario. You know who he is, Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down. He's the official Canadian ambassador to the Shout Out Show. We appreciate you, brother. And my main man, Bilal Salahuddin, and his queen, Sister Sonia Dalton. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. I gave you a shout out for your LED lights, man. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. We appreciate you. And again, thanks for coming out to the event at Masjid Tawheed. Welcome home, our returning citizens. Good to see you in the house. Next up, my little brother, Johnny L. Thomas. What's going on, JT? You can feel like you can jump in on this because you have been along with your brother on this ride, this entertainment thing for quite a long time. And I'm going to say some things that you may remember from conversations that we had. So feel free to jump in and share. And peace and blessings to your family, your queen, and my nephews. They don't call their brother enough. I love them, though. Make sure you give them my salams, all right? Next up, we got Sister Satana with it. Let me tell you what Sister Satana is working with, brothers and sisters. She's a soldier. Right now, we're having some technical problems trying to get her camera and her mic together, but she's a soldier. She's listening on her phone, working it out on her phone. So you get the Soldier of the Day award, Sister Satana. Thank you so much. So let me get to this topic, brothers and sisters. When I am watching what I'm watching, I literally look at what is the entertainment business, and the entertainment business is about perception. It's about, I can make you think differently about the realities around you using technology. And at some point, someplace, sometime, you have to give yourself over to this fantasy that you're watching, that you're engaging. This fantasy that gives you a laugh, or this fantasy that gives you a sense of joy, pride, this fantasy that somehow pulls on your heartstrings and make you cry and emotional. We are a society of scripts. We are a society of lights, camera, action, and it has always been that way. The pageantry, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to say this, and I mean it. We are a country in politics and religion and war and finance. We are a country that celebrates the pageantry of it all. The pageantry of it all. The pageantry of war. When we talk about Ukraine and Russia, there's a pageantry to it. There has to be a storyline. And you see all of the reporters going over there. You don't know anything about Ukraine before this happened, but you're going over and reporting on Ukraine and making sure that there's a story to be had. It's the same thing with religion. Religion is about pageantry. We do have a methodology in terms of religion and pedagogy, and we do have those things in dogma, and they are important, but they're not relatable unless there's a pageantry to it. We're getting ready to go into Ramadan. What is Ramadan? Ramadan is we are fasting, but there's a pageantry that's attached to it. We have a thing called, of course, Night of Power. There's a pageantry attached to Night of Power, and it's this and it's that, and it's this and it's that, and that's fine, brothers and sisters. But what we don't talk about in all this pageantry, particularly during Ramadan, is the people who are not eating the other months of the year. Hear what I'm saying? So I'm watching this thing with Will Smith and Chris Rock, and it hits me. I said it was privilege of a light-skinned actor and a dark-skinned actor, and I was wrong, brothers and sisters. Here's why I was wrong. I looked at their resumes, and here is a highly accomplished actor and a highly accomplished comedian. The actors make more money than the comedians. And I thought about Chris Rock and the movie he made, and he made one movie, I can't even remember, but it was so bad. And he made another movie. His claim to fame in terms of movies is Pootie Tang. Not even Good Hair, the documentary did. It's Pootie Tang. And the ridiculousness of Pootie Tang, and which also had Wanda Sykes Hall in it. And it was just this ridiculousness of this guy who could not speak, and we laughed at him. We laughed at him. He was the rendition, a modern day rendition of Mushmouth from Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, and we found somehow a cult appreciation for Pootie Tang. And then you have Will Smith, who's established in TV, he was established in film, no, established in films, brothers and sisters. Fresh Prince is to the point where they had a reunion and they have a new Fresh Prince that's out on TV. He's produced numerous efforts that we watched, but he had the movies like 6 Degrees of Separation, which was entree into serious acting. He's had Pursuit of Happiness. He's had 7 Pounds. He's had a lot of films, brothers and sisters. And most recently, of course, he had King Richard. But what is it that's wrong? The thing of it that's wrong is that you have 2 black men that are split into very, very clear cases of perception. You see, Chris Rock had a TV show before Will Smith. And on his TV show, I remember that he asked some very intelligent questions, and he brought forth the culture, if you will. He interviewed people like Allen Iverson. He interviewed other comedians that people felt they had access to. And that was his claim to fame. He had it on HBO. Now, Will Smith, we don't really have access to Will Smith. He's a movie star. What we learn about Will Smith is not how he came up, but he had an opportunity. Quincy Jones blessed him, Benny Medina blessed him, and he was gone. We really haven't seen Will in quite a long time. And in his crowning moment, brothers and sisters, at the height of being acknowledged as somebody who can shape perception as an actor, that's what the Academy Awards are. That's what the Oscar for. How well did you shape perception of the people who saw your film to the point they attached their own sense of value to it, more so than you actually gave it? Because you give a performance, and what it is, people score your performance. People provide a valuation for your performance. Chris Rock has never had that. Will Smith has always had that. And in terms of, I might be wrong, but in terms of the Academy eyes on this project, Chris Rock didn't matter. He got no reward. All the other hosts, they didn't get any reward. You were there for the show to keep the show moving. It is a platform for stars, major stars. Now, let me break this down too. And we're going to take a break in a minute. But let me break this down too, brothers and sisters. It's the idea that they're older black actors. These guys are not in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s. These guys are in their 50s. And let me tell you a little bit about Hollywood. If you're 20 and you don't hit in your 20s, you hope you're going to hit in your 30s. If you don't hit in your 30s, you hope you're going to hit in your 40s, because Hollywood doesn't allow for you in your 40s to go back and play somebody that's 20. If you're 50, you can't go back and play somebody that's 30. It doesn't allow that. It goes against perception. We're going to talk about perception when we just come back. Let's go ahead and take a break, Satana. Thank you guys. Stay tuned. Shout out show, Preacher Moss.
Hey, babies. Welcome to Radio WCUC, Convenient Urgent Care, home of the smart patient. This is DJ What It Do. You know what time it is. It's the top of the hour, and the request lines are open. You know what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear. Operators are waiting.
I just got to hear Don't Get the COVID.
Don't get the COVID. Put your mask back on. The Delta COVID, more contagious than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get the vaccine. You know that it can keep you safe. And your people living up in your space. Don't get the COVID. You need to wash your hands. The Delta COVID is more deadly than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get your vaccine. You know that it can keep you from dying. Don't leave your family all alone and crying. Don't get the COVID.
We invite you to join our fight against COVID and against misinformation. It's time to listen to the doctors and trust the science.
When I think of people dying that don't have to die, it makes me sad. Now is the time to be sober. Together we can make this thing over. Let's fight the COVID. Convenient urgent care, home of the smart patient.
All right, brothers and sisters. So, coming back to this whole idea of what's going on with the black man in America today. Like I said, we celebrate and we engage in a lot of pageantry, not purpose, not positioning, but it is pageantry, and the proliferation of agents and managers and things like that operate just like the larger society. Like we have to manage our careers, our livelihoods through politicians and managers and bosses and things like that. In that space, brothers and sisters, we have not been able to, I want to say, emphasize some of the larger aspects of what Black existence is in the United States. It's not coy these days. It's not, I want to say, proper etiquette to say what's really on your heart. You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as well as Malcolm, really brought forth this whole idea that you have to speak truth to power. You know, I have a video, and I've found this video. I've seen it a couple times, and I've watched it over. And when I first time I ever watched this video, I was like, is he blaming the white man? I said, no, the genius of this brother talking about his condition, probably most likely in the 70s or early 60s or mid 60s. He's talking about his situation to this reporter, but the genius is he recognizes and puts out that everything I said should not say that I'm angry. It should not say that I'm scared. It should say that I'm aware. And I think that's the thing that was missing at the Oscars, that Will Smith was not aware that there's a tradition beyond this pageantry that you're involved in, a tradition about how you treat your brother, a tradition about how you treat your sister, a long-standing tradition about how we have to fight constantly over and over and over and over again to what? Present proper images of ourselves and protect proper images of ourselves. So let me throw this up. We got a comment. My mom says perception is that Chris Rock was out of line going after Jada. She was not an item, but black men took up for his black wife. How rare. Well, they're all players. Let's be honest. They're all players. The scope of watching Will Smith and the Smith family in the public spotlight, if you put on a timeline, is extremely bizarre. It's extremely bizarre. We don't identify with a lot of things that he's done and Jada have done in terms of rearing their children. They raise them in the spotlight. Those are not things that we necessarily embrace. So let me put this up here, and I'm just gonna put it up. Satana, you want to bring it up? Thank you.
People think they're better than black people, and they want to oppress us, and they want us to allow ourselves to be oppressed.
This is the basic. I agree with you perfectly. This is the basic problem.
Then what do you
That white people think they're better than others.
I can't solve the problem. You guys pull the strings that close schools. You guys draw the boundaries that keep our kids restricted to the ghetto. You guys write up the restrictive covenants that keep us out of houses. So it's up to you to talk to your brothers and your sisters and persuade them that they have a responsibility. We've assumed ours for over 400 years, and we're tired of this kind of stuff now. We're not going to suffer patiently anymore. No more turning the other cheek. No more blessing our enemies. No more praying for those who despitefully use us. We're going to show you that we've learned the lessons you've taught us. We've studied your history, and you did not take over this country by saying we shall overcome. You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire continents and races of people. Then you wonder why these very people don't have any confidence or trust in you. Your religion means nothing. Your law is a farce, and we see it every day. You demonstrated it in Alabama. And I can say you because you're part of the whole system. You profit from it. In fact, you make your living from it. You could walk around and talk to people, stand up in your pulpit on Sunday and preach nice little songs and say, now we're going to give thanks to the Lord for he is good and old Jesus be among us. As far as we're concerned, your Jesus is contaminated, just like everything else you tried to force upon us is contaminated. So you can have him. And here's what I'll say, I wish you would follow Jesus like we followed him. Because if you did that, then we'd be in charge tomorrow. I think the problem is so bad that we can have no understanding at all.
What he said needs to be said a lot more, brothers and sisters. He wasn't angry. In fact, he was didactic, meaning that in giving the history back to this person, it almost looks like he is being not demoralizing with the guy or talking down to him, but he's using his words that have been given to us for so many years. And so when it's put out and it's not coming from a person, a non-black, it is powerful because this is a repertory. This is a repertory. This is the reverse of the pageantry I was just telling you. These are words that have nothing to do with celebrating perception. These are words that are questioning what you're giving me as perception. And so as we're gonna, I know, headed into the rest of the week and more people, I guess, dial in on this whole Chris Rock, then there's a truth to what this brother said. Because as much as he talked about these people, if you take the words out and move that white man and you say we, he has just as much a compelling case that our community, brothers and sisters, in the wake of this whole tragedy, as well as so many other tragedies, the George Floyd tragedy, Breonna Taylor tragedy, we have not developed the infrastructure where our elders call the young folks together and pull them by a fire and say, let's talk about what's going on in-house. We don't have our levels, if you will, of elders that we go to because we isolate them. You know who you haven't heard of in this whole thing? You haven't heard from Oprah. You just heard from Whoopi. No comment from Denzel. No comment from Morgan Freeman. No comment from Harry Belafonte. No comment from a lot of these great actors. No comment from Spike Lee. Literally, because they're appalled. You know why? Because the thing that happened comes out of a vacuum when you don't understand what is happening to you. You don't understand the cost to be the boss. So for that, sorry, people, my allergies are acting up. So for that, I'm going to leave it there. Let's go ahead and get alhamdulillah. Let's go ahead and get to our sponsors. We're going to give a shout out to BeFinancialIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinancialIndependent.com. Call 202-508-3780. Again, that's 202-508-3780. Shout out to UsHub.tv. Again, that's UsHub.tv, the latest in Muslim streaming content. Putting out our images, putting out our stories. Make sure you check them out, UsHub.tv. And as well, we're going to give a shout out to Bain Islamic Graduate School. Again, it's Bain Islamic Graduate School in the wonderful town of Claremont, California. Check them out. Go to banonline.org, and it's banonline.org. And we're going to give a shout out, of course, to our super sponsor. We're going to give a shout out to Convenient Urgent Care. Again, that's Convenient Urgent Care. Go to www.convenienturgent.com. Again, that's www.convenienturgent.com. Shout out to you guys. Listen, that's our show today. Big Hand, it's the time that she did it with no microphone and no camera, but she made it happen. God bless you. Listen, we'll be back on the show tomorrow. Thank you guys for at least hearing me out. Inshallah, we'll be back if it's Allah's will. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Preacher Mars. That's our show. Well, family, that's it for our show today. One of the reasons I felt compelled to make this video, because I noticed when an event is over, Muslims don't know when to leave. So if you're sitting there in front of your television going, that was fun, that was enjoyable, what do I do now? This is me telling you to leave. You know why? Because the show is over. I already left. I taped this before I made it. So you have permission to leave. And you also have permission to come back. To the Shout Out Show, we are Monday through Thursday. Again, that's 6 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Central, and of course on the West Coast, 3 o'clock. So we want to thank you for coming on the show, my brothers and sisters. And guess what? This is yet another exercise for you to leave, because I'm out of here. Later.